All right. All right, good afternoon. My apologies for us being delayed there for a little bit. It's currently 7:15, and I would like a motion in order for us to start our July town meeting.
I'll make that motion as stated.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. The meeting is now open. We'll start out the meeting with a pledge of allegiance and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now, as we go into our moment of silence, I'm sure that some of you are aware that the Indian woman, who we are all very familiar with, who would stay at the Shoppers, was hit and struck by a car in this last month, in a sad experience, and she didn't make it. So, as being a part of our family, a piece of our family, and most of us didn't know who she was, but we all care about her and her family and whomever it is that loves her. And so if we can take a moment of silence for her and for all those others who may be shut in or suffering in some kind of way, let's take a moment and care. Okay, now if we can take a moment and really think about all the wonderful things that we have in our life, the family and friends and loved ones and all the joy that we have, let's take a moment and do that as well too. All right. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a smile on their face now as we move forward with the meeting. So tonight, to let you know that we will be having a work session after this meeting. We were unable to have a work session last week, so after this meeting, we'll have a work session. Of course, it's open to the public as well, but we'll be moving into the chambers. And so to get started today, we have a guest from Eritrean Orthodox Church, Mr. Sikar, and he would like to come and give us an update. They are currently the ones you see that are rehabbing the church down by the bridge on Bladensburg Road. So please come up and give us an update. You can go over here to the mic. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, everybody. My name is Mahari Soikwa, and I'm a member of the Eritrean Orthodox Church and happen to be the chairman of the Real Estate Committee, which is a dubious honor. So thank you for having us here, and sorry, I'm not very used to public speaking.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. Just to give you an update on our project, rehabbing the two former warehouses, National News warehouses, where we turning one of them to a sanctuary, and the other one will be a social multi-purpose building. So we have started the construction, we are progressing with that, but as it happens, we were based in Washington, D.C., and our landlord has sort of terminated our lease, and we've had a situation whereby we haven't finished the construction and rehab, and so temporarily we're in the process of erecting a tent. We're obviously going through the entire process of obtaining the appropriate permits and using occupancy permits to temporarily worship there. It will only be on Sundays, and it will be all entirely contained within the compound, so there's no parking over spills or anything like that. And so it'll be all entirely compound, just Sunday mornings, and hopefully it'll be for a short while, 2 to 3 months, until our building is ready. So in the meantime, there was some graffiti put on our building. We've cleaned that up, and if there's any issues, feel free to come to speak to us at the site. Our superintendent is pretty good, and just communicate with us. If you see anything that's untoward, we are more than happy to help. We just want to be good neighbors. We're very excited to be in there, within the community, and we look forward to being a part of the community, contributing part of the community for the long term. So that's the update I have.
All right, well, thank you so much. During your temporary period with your tent, do you intend, where are people going to park?
There will be parking inside the compound, so it will be safe. We have we have sufficient parking space, so it's only the tent or the temporary space is for about 300 people, and we have parking to satisfy almost up to 600 people, but it will be a little bit less than that. So we will make sure everything is contained there. We will make sure traffic is directed through Bladensburg, so that it doesn't disturb our neighbors on Newark Road.
Oh, Bladensburg Road. You said Bladensburg.
Sorry, Bladensburg Road.
Okay, so from Bladensburg Road is where the entries will be. All right. I thank you for your responsiveness to the graffiti. It's important. I guess you found out it wasn't the $1 million dollar.
No, it wasn't a Banksy, so no, we weren't going to be rich today.
Well, thank you for that. Council members, do you have any questions or comments?
I got one question. Once the tent's erected, will it stay up until you take occupancy, or are you putting it up and taking it down at certain times?
No, it will stay up. It's substantial enough so that it can't be erected and disassembled, every week. But it's a fairly sturdy structure. It has to be for safety reasons, and hopefully it will be a short term, 2 to 3 months. And it's a tent, so we can't really stay there for too long.
It's going to get cold.
Very cold.
Well, the cold is hot.
No, well,
Right.
hot now.
Yes, I was wondering about that.
Fall, winter come.
A little bit of concern. I've already, in the last week, I've heard of 5 people who's fallen out from heat exhaustion. And so do you guys have that covered?
Yeah, we will have AC that will go into the space,
Okay.
to accommodate that. Otherwise, no one will turn up the charge.
Uh-huh.
So.
Well, like I mentioned to you before, if the space here is available, you can rent it at our residential rate for Sundays. If you guys need some relief from the sun or something, and you feel like doing that sometime.
We appreciate that offer.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming out. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Okay. Mayor's report. Okay. So the month of June. Well, MML is a big part of the month of June, Maryland Municipal League, and we, as always, I find it to be a very educational experience. Learning more about something we're going to be talking about a little bit more this afternoon is about these small sales networks that they're looking to be putting up soon, and actually going through the process of promoting in the community and networking with other mayors. I will say that I was elected to be the Maryland Mayor, the president of the Maryland Mayors Association. So I was happy to be in that position, and we'll see what we can do as mayors all across Maryland to make improvements, work on the legislative priorities that we get from MML, and also one of the things we do is bring young people into the fold. I had the honor of taking a young man who works here to the Maryland Black Mayors Gala, which was an amazing experience, just to have him in the presence of all of these elected officials. where he got to talk to them, speak with them. He got cards from some of them that he tends to go and talk to later on. And that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to ask for the mayors to do, is to find young people in their community and actually take them to some of the events that we go to, so that they can start to actually experience what's happening in this political world and this political environment, because we need them to get started early on what they're going to be doing going forward. I am the treasurer of the Maryland Black Mayors, and I also attended the Anacostia Trails Heritage Area meeting, and they're continuing to work to have some more bike rides on the trails and some additional improvement on the trails. We're looking for some lighting and benches on the trails. So I guess to sum up my report, the fireworks were actually absolutely lovely on Friday, and we really appreciate our neighbors in working on putting that together. It was a really exciting event, and also I want to thank the chief and Chief Stone for keeping everybody safe, because it was here in Colmar Manor where the fireworks took off, and so everybody I think did a good job of bringing that up to speed and making sure it came off as a really nice event. I will say, there was some other thought I had, and I can't remember right now. But anyway, I'll pass them to council members, and usually if I remember something later, I'll come back and come to it. So we have Council Member Blue here on Ward 1.
Yes, good evening. I just want to remind everybody that we do have the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Summer Playground Program here at the Town Hall, Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. And you can register your children at the Bladensburg Community Center. Also, to drive a little slow, look out, there's kids outside. I know on my block, they're deep, my grandkids are out there, so just kind of drive slow, kids are out playing. Don't forget to bring your pets in during this heat wave. It's been real hot. Bring your pets in. Check on your neighbors. And if there's anyone that doesn't have a lawnmower and your grass may need cut, call the town hall and leave your name and a number. We have some young people that need community service hours. Also, on Monday nights, they have the kids club at the Colmar Manor Bible Church for the young children. And Mrs. Cade and Mr. Cade are going to have Vacation Bible School for the children also. Don't forget to water your gardens. It's hot. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Blue. Councilmember Bowden is absent. Councilmember Jackson, or Mayor Pro Temp Jackson.
Good evening. First, I want to say congratulations to Mayor for being the president of the Maryland Black Associates. Maryland Mayor Associates. I mean, that's an honor, and I know you're going to do a great job.
Thank
so congratulations to that.
Thank you.
I want to thank the residents that's coming out tonight. It's good to see more people coming to our meetings. I really appreciate it. I also attended MML conference, which was very informative. Learned a lot of workshops we attended. We talked about the opium crisis, how to deal with different residents and conflicts of interest. So it was a very good conference. One of the things that the town was recognized as was called Hill City. We got the highest recognition with a Platinum Award, which is outside in the lobby. We also got recognized for Banner City, and that's something that we have been doing for the last 12 years, and that's one of the things that we do as elected officials is to, one, participate. We not only are here at these two meetings, we also participate in other meetings in the county, and we also reach out to our school in the area and try to get the school kids to get involved also and let them know about local government. As far as for my ward report, basically, I think we're getting better as far as with the trash, but we can do better as far as making sure our area is clean. That's the report for my ward. But I do want to say, last month we had an election, so I want to congratulate Delegate Diana Fennell. She is in my ward. I am very proud that she was re-elected. I also want to say thank you to Delegate Jimmy Tallow. He did not get reelected this time, but I want to thank him for all his service and everything that he's done for District 47. And I want to congratulate Julian Avery, a newcomer that's coming aboard. He has a lot of energy, he's young, and we're looking forward to work with him. Also, if you all were here earlier, Senator-elect Malcolm Augustine showed up. He couldn't stay long, but he will be our new senator for District 47, and I'm quite sure you'll see them a lot in the area. And that's my report, and thank you.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you remembering there was an election last month. I'm still in the days from it all, 1 month to the next month in elections. But yes, I also want to say congratulations to all of our new elected officials who will be going in office, since we're a significant Democrat county. These folks who we just voted for are the ones that go in. I want to thank everybody who voted. Because voting is really important, and hopefully you can get out there and get people voting in November, and not just here, but in sister states like West Virginia and so forth, that we need to work on to get out to vote. So in addition to who Councilmember Jackson mentioned, I also want to congratulate Angela Alsobrooks, who won for county executive, and also thank Donna Edwards for her hard work and effort and everything that she's done for us in the past, and also to congratulate Jolene Ivy, who will be our county council person going forth in the future, starting again in January. So congratulations to all. So a couple of things that I forgot. I want to also mention about the waste and trash. And we sent out a flyer recently to just remind people on the days that we have the yard waste on Mondays and trash on Mondays, and Wednesdays bulk pickup after you call, and Friday is recycling. And so I hope we're effectively using our young people. We have several young people here working this summer, a few from the county, a few from Reverend Addison and Time Harvest Ministries, and some of our own. So we're utilizing them by helping them to communicate, helping us communicate with you, and I think that's going to be a successful thing. I hope some of you have been past Newton Street by 38th to see that the playground is being put into place. And the exercise equipment. So it looks good. It looks like it's going to look great when they're finished doing what they're doing. But it's really happy to see this finally come to fruition, that we're really getting this playground in place. A quick statement. What I did miss is that I spent a lot of conversation with the shopping center and also with the property owners where the car wash is in relationship to how they've managed the people who are coming through who don't necessarily come for commerce, and things that are left behind, and problems or troubles or concerns that people have. So the shopping center has really stepped up. They did a thorough cleaning. They did a spray down. They've gotten to the crevices in the corners in the different areas that some people on Newark Road have felt really uncomfortable with their experience there, and they've also brought in security, their own, and so we're really happy to see them stepping up. We're also been talking to an A. Michaels Corporation about the car wash. My interest is for them to take the car wash down, and I'm not going to pretend it's become a shelter, and some people, is not comfortable, and I believe people who don't have a place to go should find places to go, but not necessarily public places that disturb other people's space. So we're still in talks about what their security plan is going to be. I think the chief has sent some information out to them about some of the things that have been experienced in the area. So I just want to let everybody know that these are things that we're very aware of, and we do believe that we have good business partners here who are going to work with us in those type of things. We sent the youth out again to all of the households that we have listed that have people over 60 years old
to let them know that this space is available during the day if they would like to come in here as a cooling center. And I urge anybody who's watching right now who knows someone who is without air conditioner or elderly, usually this major space, I mean, sometimes it's being used for repast, but during the week, this is generally an empty space, and therefore, it's a cooling space. So please feel free to come here to just cool off a little bit sometimes if that's a problem for you, and let's make that official. And so we've sent the kids out to take out flyers, flyers to talk to them as well, to let them know that, you know, we'll come get you and bring you up here, you know, if you just want to get away and you don't have the air conditioning in your house. So those were the things that I wanted to, the last thing I wanted to speak to you about is the mosquitoes. So many of you, I'm sure, may have received a visit from Jason Kern, who's very adamant about not having mosquito spray in the community. And based on the rule that when a person put an exemption to not have mosquito spray, they will not spray 300 feet radius around that space. And within just 22 signatures, 22 households out of 425, that rule was going to cause this entire town to not be sprayed with the mosquito spray. So I made a request to the Secretary of Agriculture to reduce the 300 feet to 75 feet. And with that reduction, it would get more homes to actually still get sprayed. The people who want to be exempt still don't get sprayed in front of their area 75 feet, but it still gives people more opportunity. So from the 22 that we had at that time, Mr. Kern has gone out and gotten another 25. And so I suggest that you might want to, from the exemption forms, there's a phone number. If you're not, you can get a map, and we'll send out a map by email of what, and if you're on Nextdoor already, Mr. Kern has already put the map out there. So there are a lot of streets that are still not going to get sprayed at all. And I want people to be informed. If your street is not being sprayed, that means that there's at least a couple of people on your block that has requested an exemption. And that means that you're not going to be sprayed. So for the amount of people, 50 right now, 375 homes are affected by that. So just as he's motivated, if you really want the spray, you need to be motivated as well in order to contact the mosquito spray area. And you can call here if you don't have the number, but the exemption forms have the number on it and what we sent out in the email. So I just want to notify everybody of that, because you probably don't know that if your street's not being sprayed, and you might want to know, is your street being sprayed? So that's it for me on that one. All right? Okay, thank you so much. So we'll move on to the Treasurer's Report. Mr. Baden.
Thank you, Mayor. There are copies of the report on the table if you haven't picked one up. This report is for the fiscal year 2018 that ended June of 2018. So the new fiscal year began July 1st, so we're in the new budget year. The report is prepared is on a cash basis. This will be updated to be in compliance with the modified accrual basis, which means there will be additional revenues and expenses that are recognized at year end. But the report as it's shown now shows revenues of $1,526,000. Largest portion of this comes from real estate taxes. Most of the items are within budget. Some of them that have exceeded budget include income taxes, $95,801 versus $87,000 budgeted. So that's an additional $8,800 in revenue from income taxes. Interest income, $7,910 actual versus $2,000 budgeted, where you've been able to take advantage of higher interest rates on our investments. So we've got about $6,000 more in interest income than originally budgeted for. The one item that is reduced is the red light camera violations due to construction that has gone on over the last fiscal year up on Bladensburg Road, and the camera being down at various times. The revenue has decreased $95,000 over what was anticipated. There is some offset by the expenses associated with generating that revenue. But overall, it's about a $50,000 net decrease in revenue from the red light camera. The sale of solar credits, many of you may or may not know, we have solar panels on the roof of this building. So we generate renewable energy. We are able to sell those credits at a higher rate than what we have in the past and what we originally budgeted for. So we have about $5,100 in additional revenue over what was budgeted for those sale of those credits. On the expenditure side by department, we had general government expenditures of $646,000. Again, the budget is pretty much on target. Some of the items that have exceeded the budget include debt service. On the debt service costs for this building, with the change in the income tax laws at the beginning of this year, there was a clause in our agreement with the bank that said because we are a tax exempt issuer and they lowered the corporate tax rates, therefore the banks need to be made whole from when they made us the original agreement. So we are paying an additional about $1,000 a month more in interest. So we've overspent that budget by $7,800. Legal counsel is currently over by $5,400 related to some lawsuits that we were defending during the year. Retirement costs have decreased because we pay into the retirement plan based on salaries, and we had some vacancies, mainly in the police department during the year and some in the general government office, so we were able to save some money in the retirement accounts as well as the salary accounts. And also towards the bottom of page 2, health insurance is $22,000 under budget. Again, that's due to the vacancies that we had. Moving on to page 3, you have the Code Enforcement Department, Public Works, and Community Center Town Hall, which is the operation of this building. All those accounts are pretty much within budget. And on page 4, you have the Police Department. Again, some of those items are under budget because of the vacancies in the officers. We did hire one this month, or month of June. We still have one vacancy that we look to fill shortly. And then the community center operations, which is running the recreation area, the hall rentals, those types of things, you see at the bottom of page 4. So on page 5, if the total net income for the fiscal year is currently showing a $40,383 negative. We do, by the time we put the accruals in for revenues that have not been recognized yet and the additional expenses, we are looking to come in at about a break-even point for the year. So pretty good fiscal year closing, and we'll be moving into fiscal year 2019, July 1st.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to state it.
The second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I would just like to basically reiterate what Mr. Baton just said about the fact that this is a year and as it stands right now, but there will be accruals and things like that. So I have requested, Mr. Baton, after the final year end is completed, that we do again a report on the final. The auditor letters came in, I think today. And so our auditors will be starting pretty swiftly, and we'll also be getting everything all up to date. So we'll report back on what our final is when we actually come back for our next meeting. Okay, so is there I already did all that. So I'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2? Absent. Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4? Absent. And the mayor votes aye. So we accept this treasurer's report. Thank you, Mr. Baton.
You're welcome.
What I did just recall as I said that is that we will Only have one meeting in August. It may be a work session or maybe a public meeting. We're not sure yet. So when we put it out there, but there will be a meeting in the second Tuesday. The first Tuesday is National Night Out. I hope you all are planning on coming out for National Night Out. I'm sure the chief has some things to say about that, and we'll let the chief go ahead and do a police report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, folks. The chief's report is over on the table. I think the one that was originally disseminated was from in May. So the June 2018 report's over on the table, folks. Just go over a couple of the incidents, and then we'll go through some departmental issues. We had an armed robbery at the Burger King on June the 11th. The individual walked in about a half hour before the place was closing. Wasn't masked up, wasn't wearing gloves, ordered some food, and then produced a handgun and removed, fortunately, there were no injuries, removed $200. The CCTV images weren't that great. We were in concert with the Prince George's County Robbery Squad, but as of about the last half hour, that's what I was checking, they haven't developed a suspect on that. We had a domestic assault, and the only reason I'm bringing that up is because although we're very fortunate in Colmar Manor, domestic violence in Prince George's County and in the state is a really significant issue. There were 55 people that lost their lives last year in Maryland due to domestic violence, and there was almost 15,000 domestic violence-related crimes in Maryland. So I just want to give and again, there's about 8 brochures over there on the table. Although we only had, during this month here, we had 4 domestic calls. One of them was pretty significant, and the young lady was injured pretty significantly, so we got a warrant for the individual and placed him under arrest. Matter of fact, he's still in jail right now on a no bond. But for the folks that are listening, the folks that are here, there's really 3 numbers that are critical. The easiest number is 211. If you're the victim of a domestic violence, all you have to dial is 211, and they will relay you immediately to the Family Crisis Center, which is staffed 24/7 in Prince George's County. The other number is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. And there's counselors on there, but more importantly, they will not let that person go until they get them directly hooked up with a person on the other line that can start dealing with the issues. So we're very sensitive to that. Our officers, when we respond to these domestic violence, they are potentially very injurious to our officers. But again, we had 4, which is 4 too many in my estimation, in 1 month. But we had 2 theft from autos. They were in the Colmar Manor Shopping Center, and I'm the mayor. I'll talk about some initiatives that we're doing in there. Both of them were on the same day at the same time, 2 parked cars right beside each other, and they had a laptop, wallet, and a cell phone left in plain view. And so we really emphasize to our folks, as we do every month. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's the #1 crime in Prince George's County. It's absolutely the #1 crime as far as the number of crimes, but it's the #1 most preventable one. So we really encourage folks to lock their doors and take their valuables with them, or at least lock them in the trunks of the cars. Fortunately on this, we made an arrest working with Prince George's County. We arrested 2 individuals that were responsible for about 15 break-ins into cars. Not in Colmar Manor, but in Colmar Manor and some of the surrounding jurisdictions. As the mayor indicated at the shopping center, I did a walkthrough with Mr. Lusk and Mr. Fernebach from the Harvey Property Management Company, and they were very receptive to our recommendations. They've made a commitment to upgrade all of the lighting in the shopping center to LED lights. And matter of fact, I met with the gentleman 2 days ago and did a walkthrough. They're going to be enhancing their CCTV cameras that are on the outside that capture the parking lot. So they've made that commitment to us. As the mayor said, they power washed all of the dumpster areas, all of the areas around the side of the shopping center. And there are part-time officers there working right now on a foot patrol assignment that they're paying for. So we think there's a significant amount of enhancements that will take place. I just drove through before I came in here, and you can see the notable difference. However, on those locations, we always encourage our folks to be aware of their surroundings all the time. When they get out of the car, lock the car, always look around, not just in this shopping center, and everywhere that you're at. As the mayor said, we were very fortunate that we swore in Officer Chad Perez on June the 19th. Officer Perez is in the field training program right now, which means he's riding with an experienced officer for 6 weeks, and then that officer will be cut loose and he'll be on his own. A very young man, but comes from a great background, great family, and he speaks Spanish, which is a huge importance to us. So we're really looking forward to the development of Officer Perez. I have one position available that we're announcing tomorrow, another full-time position that's available in the police department. A couple of us went to William Wirt Junior High or Middle School several weeks ago to talk about MS-13 gang issues. There was a significant article in the Washington Post. So we met there with not only the police officials, but parent groups and the teachers, and educators, and community leaders to address the potential issue that's at that school. They're very close to Parkdale High School. All you have to do is walk through a park. We've also been to Rogers Heights and to Port Towns Elementary within the last month, talking to the children there, and also more so to the parents and the teachers. We don't have a prevalent MS-13 gang issue in Colmar Manor in Cottage City. I communicate daily with the PG County Gang Unit. Every once in a while you'll see graffiti, especially on the Bladensburg Road carrier, but it's not gang related. That's vandalism where we deal with. August the 7th, we have National Night Out. That'll be from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. It'll be in the 4100 block of Newark Road, and there'll be additional information coming out on that. So we're really encouraging our community to come out and meet the police department. We'll have a lot of resources available, a lot of things for the children to do. And again, we're going to be blocking off that 4100 block. Last thing, probably before I get into some of the crime stats, is the fireworks that we had. The waterfront park, even though it was in July and we're reporting on June, it was a great event. Our police officers had such a great time being out there and walking with the community, talking with the children. It was a very safe environment. We're going to be having an after-action meeting with the Bladensburg folks and all the stakeholders to go over things that went well and things that, if it occurs next year, maybe we need to improve on. But overall, the community was very receptive. We didn't have any issues at all. There was, for a while, a missing 5-year-old that we were able to find over here in Colmar Manor. He walked all the way across from Bladensburg, across the pedestrian bridge into Colmar Manor, but I was able to locate him that night. So it was really a great time. The last thing is on the calls for service. You'll see that report there. Nothing really stands out significant other than a number of motor vehicle accidents. We're experiencing, not only here, but on the Cottage City side, a spike in the number of accidents on Bladensburg Road. And as I indicated before, I'm getting bids right now on some radar equipment, but it's because of all the improvements that have been done on Bladensburg Road, a lot of the resurfacing and things of that nature. So fortunately, most of these are minor accidents. They're usually at the intersections, but we are seeing not only a spike here, but a spike on the other side. So we really encourage the people. I think one of the council members already mentioned, always maintain your speed. We have so many children crossing, not only in the residential area, but across Bladensburg Road. So other than that, Mayor, I think that's it, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chief, for that report. Is there a motion to accept the police report?
Yes, I make a motion as stated.
Is there a second?
Yes, I have a question though.
Yes. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Chief, I would like to get a flyer to put in the shopping center about domestic violence. I did see that article where Prince George's County has the most out of all the states as far as domestic violence. And I was thinking maybe we can have something here, an open house or something, so people can feel comfortable to come up and talk to the chief.
That's a very good point. That's an excellent point. Prince George's County has a very robust unit working out of the state's attorney's office and out of the Prince George's County Sheriff's Office. But that's an excellent recommendation, ma'am. I'll move on that for you.
And also, in your report, with the MS-13 that was at Wentworth, myself was an attendee there. My son goes to Wentworth. And I know in our area, we do not have the problem with MS-13. But however, our kids go to Wentworth and go to Roger Heights, so
Absolutely.
They interact with different people. And I just wonder if we can do more to get information out, like to the smaller kids, like you said. Maybe we can reach them really on National Night Out. I'm encouraging parents to please come out with your kids on National Night Out so you can interact with the police and also with your neighbors, and where they can feel safety, they can come and talk to the police officer.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
And
Okay.
the last one, I want to commend you and also the mayor of how you all have been really doing a great job trying to get the car wash situation under control. I mean, the community don't see it, but I see the emails back and forth, and I just want to say thank you for that. And the last thing is Newark Road. Because we're behind Bladensburg Road, and Bladensburg Road can get very crowded and cramped. I'm a walker. I catch the bus all the time. There's always speeding cars and cars not stopping at the stop sign. And it doesn't necessarily have to be around when the kids are there. It's
Right.
early in the morning. They're trying to do the shortcut. And I know that they're not our residents. They're people cutting through the town. And
Yeah, so
we can have something set up right there, so maybe once a week, so they'll know that slow down when you come through the town.
Yes, ma'am. When we get the speed device, the first couple of weeks we'll be issuing warnings. I mean, the whole idea behind any type of radar is compliance. So we'll be issuing warnings after that. Then we'll start issuing citations. But it is an issue. People come down Bladensburg Road, especially if they're traveling out of the District of Columbia. They'll make a right-hand turn on the 37th, come up to Newton and go, or to Newark Road and go all the way down Newark Road to 43rd. And they miss all those stop signs. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and
Very aware of it.
I just have one more, Chief. Councilmember Mendoza is not here. She is the councilmember in Ward 4. But if she was here, I know she would have talked about also on Lawn Street, 43rd area where Miss Epps lived, there's always a lot of speeding going around. The residents, if you sit on the porch, I mean, it's usually the same individuals, and they just speed constantly. And I don't know why, but they also have kids in the neighborhood, but they speed constantly. And actually, someone wrote it on our Facebook page, can we get a speed camera, something there, because they speed a lot in that area.
Yeah, what we'll do is to not only keep the public informed, but we will announce, it's part of transparency, we'll announce to the public where we're going to be setting up these radar sites. Again, because you'll be able to know ahead of time, and we'll also give as kind of a summary of the number of citations and warnings that we issued, the number of stops at every location. So not only the people in the individual wards, but the mayor and council and the citizens will know.
So you have to let everybody know we're going to set up? Or
Oh,
you
yeah,
just can't
yeah,
do that?
police
Okay.
departments do
I'm
that.
just asking.
They let them know that this is the general area. Again, because the whole idea is compliance.
Yeah.
Most of the idea is compliance, and every once in a while, we may set up where and not let folks know. But I'm not a big believer in what called speed traps.
yeah.
But where there is a valid reason, especially where you have children involved, absolutely, absolutely. Ma'am.
I mean, we don't have it as bad. I really think it's about 4 individuals that I think it's a,
I agree with you.
just like they like to drive.
Yeah.
They like to drive, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it is kind of like weird over there on Lawn Street there, because like, okay, you're speeding to
It's
the
something about
end
them
of the
going around the
levee.
bend. I don't
You
know.
know,
but-
why do you want to fly around that bend? You never know what's on the other side because the streets are tight. But thank you, Chief. I appreciate you putting in that effort in order to try to make improvements
And I'll keep
in
the
that
community
area.
updated, ma'am.
And also, I know that Bladensburg has a the speed thing that tells you how fast you're going.
Yeah, we have one over in Cottage City. If we have it in the budget here, that's a good reminder. It doesn't issue citations.
Right.
It's not a
It's
speed
just-
camera, but it does tell you your
Let
speed.
people know.
Yeah, yes,
what
ma'am.
their speed is.
Correct.
But you do what you're doing for us. But if you can check out the budget and see how much it might be.
Yeah, they're
for
about
that.
$1,300.
Oh, okay, that's not really that bad, to think about it. We'll talk about it later. I wanted to ask you about the suicide attempts. That's rather disturbing. 3 in 1 month. The suicide attempts on the sheets here, were they residents?
Yes, ma'am. And I originally had the incidents on there, but I took them off. Yes, we had, on one day, we had 2 individuals attempt to commit suicide. Both of them one was by alcohol and controlled dangerous substance. The other one was by alcohol. So what does that mean? When the police officers get there, the first thing we try to do is ensure their safety, but then we call in crisis intervention teams. They talk with the family members. We were able to convince both of those individuals to voluntarily commit themselves for a mental health analysis. Matter of fact, one of the gentlemen, he's the brother of one of the gentlemen. I remain in contact with him on about a weekly basis because he's a longtime resident here. And I don't want to give too much information.
No,
I don't want to give
that's
100
fine.
blocks. But we did respond to 2 in 1 day, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
Very unusual. Both of them had to do with economic situations that the folks were involved in.
Wow. Okay, and and I asked you just because this whole economic situation is challenging for a lot of people. and we don't want to see that go up. But anyway, we'll figure out something. The disorderly, which is also a really high number, were these residents of the community or not?
No, most of the disorderly calls we get are in the businesses. It's usually someone coming into one of the businesses, whether, and again, I won't name a particular business, but it's along the Bladensburg Road corridor. Very, very infrequent. I mean, really very infrequent. Do we ever get a call back in the residential areas?
Okay.
And I think I've explained to the folks before, when we get a disorderly call, that's how it's identified by the dispatcher. We may get there, and it may be nothing more than somebody talking loud in their front yard. So that doesn't mean that there were actually 13 verified, but that's the number of calls for service that we get there. Of those, I would say probably 2/3 of them were verified where we had to go and encounter an individual, but most of those are inside the businesses.
Okay, all right, thank you, Chief, I appreciate that information. Okay, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Absent.
Oh.
Absent.
Well,
Ward
you know how I
3?
feel about the ward, so. Aye.
Ward 4?
Thank you, Mayor.
Absent, and the mayor votes aye. Thank you, Chief. I also wanted to add that, I don't know if the Chief and I mentioned it, but we also were invited to Roger Heights Elementary School the month before to talk about gang activities, which was really very shocking and disturbing that people of that age really, that the school was significantly concerned about the kids. And like Councilmember Jackson said, we may not have an issue here, but our kids interact with people who are having issues. I just want to say, a lot of times people don't want to come to the police to say something. My door's always open, so if there's a story or a concern that somebody has, a schoolmate said something that was concerning or whatever, you can talk to me. And then I'll try to get, what needs to the right people, and because I really want people to feel comfortable. As a government, we're not involved in ICE or any immigration, anything. We just want everybody to be safe who's here and to have a comfortable life here. So I wanted to mention that. There is a growing concern there. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we have no unfinished business, we have no new business, and so we'll call for reports that are available. Is there a senior club report?
Ed's not here.
Yes, Mr. Muchler's not here. Go check on him. Okay, is there a garden club report? Ms. Epps?
Good evening, Mayor Council,
Good evening.
Chief,
I'm Ms. Epps.
residents, Dan and Mr. Barr. Last month, we put together a shed at the East Garden. I want to thank everyone who came out to help us with that. That was a huge event, but it was nice. It was a hot day. We still have some little critiquing we have to do, which put it in the right spot and level it off, but it's there. Everybody in the garden seems to be happy. We meet every third Saturday of the month from 10 to 12. The next meeting will be July 21st at the West Garden. And on the 28th, we will have a canning class, which you harvest your food for the winter time, so you can reserve it over the winter months. So it was very successful last year. So many people wanted to come out, want to do it again, so I requested to have it on the 28th. The 21st, the town hall is booked, so we couldn't do it on the 21st, which we will be meeting on the 21st, but the 28th, the class will take place from 10 to 12 in the outreach room. Everyone is welcome to come out. Okay, I want to thank everyone. Yeah, I said that already, but the shed. So I want to thank Julianne for coming out. We've been weeding the West Garden, which is hard to keep up. That West Garden, because of the rain and the slope, the water just seems to pile up there, and then we don't put so much chip down to the bed itself used to be tall. Now we got to rebuild the beds up high again because there's so many chips and the weeds still coming up. So Julianne, Bethay, and I have been going to all last week trying to get the control of the beds, the ones that's not been attended to, and the weeds around the beds and around the fence of the resident, so we won't have them to complain about the weeds and the trees and stuff over there. I put a lock on the East Garden for the request of the residents for the East Garden, because we have outsiders that keep coming in, harvesting their food. So I put a lock on there, and everybody in the East Garden that's there has the combination to that lock. In the shopping center, I want to thank you, Chief, for getting together with Mr. Luss and his associated partners, because we missing more planters over there now. Someone busted another one, and I think 3 or 4 more has been taken. So I thank you so much for working on that. I request the water tank in both the East and the West Garden needs to be cleaned. I did put in a form for that for our public works to work on that.
Please.
And that's my report.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay,
you,
thank
Ms.
you.
Epps.
Thank you.
Okay, Green Team report.
Yes, I'll give the Green Team report. The Green Team met last month, June 18th here. We basically talked about how to keep Colmar Manor sustainable. We worked out our sustainable plan for a 3-year action plan. Some of the things that we did highlight that we talked about was, one, to create a Green Team active bulletin board, which we're going to do outside in the lobby. Also, we talked about having another rain garden class, hope to be coming up soon. We went over all the bullet points that we, and they were 28 bullet points that we have to maintain to keep the town sustainable. So we went over it, and some of the bullet points, some of the Green Team members and the mayor, we have tasks that we have to do within, our deadline is June 2019. But the Green Team is a very active club. We're open to everyone. We meet once a month. We meet, our next meeting is July 16th, which is Monday. This is an open meeting, so if you're interested to come and learn all about the Green Team, we'll be here Monday from 7 o'clock to around 8:30. We try to leave about 8:30. That's it. On the Green Team note, Mayor, it was one thing we didn't talk about, but we had a Green Street planning participation, which was on June the 23rd, and it was for Newton Road. It was in my notes. And we went out, we sent letters out to all the residents on Newark Road to come out to be a part of the Green Street planning. It was a very exciting event. However, we didn't have the turnout that we would like to have. So one of the things that the mayor and myself did, we left the workshop, and we went knocking on people's doors trying to get people to come up, because Newark Road, and you live on that road, you should have an input of what you would like to see there. So we had the architect here, which gave us different scenarios and different ideas, which was very exciting. And actually, I have copies of some of the layouts, which I will display at our Green Team meeting on Monday, if you're interested in coming by just to see. But it was a very interesting meeting. And Mayor, if you want to talk about that more.
Right, yeah, I did forget about that, remembering some things, huh?
Well, we had so many,
With
with you saying you forgot about that, we have so many different meetings besides these two. Sometimes things overlap each other, so I'm glad that
There's a lot of things going on all the time. But yeah, it was a really good event. The architects working on different plans. We talked about different ways to settle traffic, as well as
That's right.
ways to
beautify
beautify the area, to make it more beautiful. And so after they finished putting together all the information from the charrette, next month there's going to be another opportunity to come and view what their recommendations are for the street. So look forward to that. Watch out for it and see when that comes in. I also wanted to mention our parking permits. I'd be remiss. You will be getting a letter next week, I am sure, by the end of next week, with a general idea of how the parking permit process is going to be, and with a schedule of when your street will be turned. So we'll be doing a couple of streets at a time to come in and get your permit. And then to register for your permit. And so it'll take several months before everybody has it, but in order, we'll need compliance that people are actually doing it. So I'm telling you right now, and it's coming out, we're going to give everyone a couple of weeks. Your street, from the date of the notice for your particular street, everyone will have 2 weeks to make sure that they have their cars and their cars registered in Maryland to the town of, with the address of Colmar Manor. The address should be Colmar Manor 20722. It will come up automatically Brentwood if you don't tell them it's Colmar Manor. It's important because it could be impacting the amount of money that we get from the state relative to vehicles. And there's always some uncertainty as to whether or not the funding is coming here that's properly supposed to come here. So that's an important part of this too, as well as the permit part. You do not have to pay in order to change your address. You can just get a change card. It will automatically change whenever you go to re-register your vehicle, but you'll have the card to carry around and you will be officially from Colmar Manor. So I'll remind everybody of that. And also we're having interviews tomorrow for code enforcement. Myself and the chief forgot that. So there's 3 interviews that will be had tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be making a selection soon. Again, we're doing this with Cottage City. So that we can have a full-time officer. So I'm looking forward to getting code enforcement again.
Need it.
So yes, we do. And so recreation, we don't have, unless anybody has something specific to say, the next thing on the main thing that's happening is really National Night Out.
Yeah, just that the recreation center is open for summer month. So we're open like till 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. And just wanted to, the resident of Colmar Manor is free.
Yes. And there's a weight room downstairs too, and a track.
And you're out of the heat.
And you're out of the heat, that's right.
Right. So the only day that the gym area closes a little early is on Thursday. It looks like they close at 6 o'clock. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, no.
Well, Monday and Wednesday.
Tuesdays and Thursday, they close at 6 o'clock, the open gym part, but the exercise room is still open till 9 o'clock.
Yes,
Yeah.
and on Mondays and Wednesdays, the gym is just open till 9 o'clock for whomever. And on Fridays, you should come out. There's volleyball, and it's really open to whoever wants to play. We've got great volunteers that volunteer everything for us for that Friday, and they're open to play volleyball with you. So if you want to come out and play volleyball, you can come out on Fridays as well. All right, PGCMA, does anyone have any update on PGCMA?
PGCMA's, they should be having their retreat in August, and then they'll meet back up in September.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah,
Prince
so there's-
George's County Municipal Association.
Yes.
Mhm.
And did you have anything on Atha?
ATHA, I reported, I report on ATHA in my report.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Okay, yes, I did. I will report what the agenda items are for the work session that we will be going to shortly. On this work session, we'll be talking about Roger Heights Health Fair donation. They generally yearly ask for a donation towards the health fair, where they actually provide certain things to young people who may not be able to afford certain basic stuff. We'll be talking about the purchase of the truck, which is in our budget. We will be talking about a request, a Public Information Act request that came from a newspaper. We'll be talking about our code enforcement MOU that we're working out with Cottage City. We'll be talking about the small sale rules that have been proposed by the FCC. We'll talk about chair acquisition, meaning buying chairs for the town and disposal of the chairs for the town, and then bike rights in town. So I will report the outcomes of this at our next public meeting, whatever our outcomes were in this agenda, but I wanted to make sure you had it. And so now I'll just ask if there are any citizen comments.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Come on up. Come up. You can come. No, you have to, because we're televised. I'm sorry. and give your name and your street you live on.
My name is James Thomas. I live on 42nd Avenue. I wasn't aware of the mosquito eradication program. What notice was sent out about that?
When you say the mosquito eradication, what do you mean?
You said that they weren't, you wouldn't spray or something.
So what we did put out is that everybody the state requires that everybody has a right to say they do not wish their home to be sprayed. And there's an exemption form that you would fill out to say, I don't want my house sprayed. With that exemption, it then exempts 300 feet radius around your house won't be sprayed. So in that case, your next door neighbor, if you say you don't want to be sprayed, your next door neighbors on both sides of you are not going to get sprayed either, and probably another house. I requested that 300 feet be reduced to 75. So maybe it's just you and a half of the house next to you, but not the whole thing. And so depending on the number of people on your block that may have requested exemptions, it can still cause your block to not be sprayed if a lot of people in the block doesn't want the spray.
So the notice was sent out how? How was that notice sent out?
About
spraying.
Oh, notice about spraying? We put out notice about spraying from the email list that we have from our contacts, and we put it on Facebook, and we put it on Nextdoor.
But we also, I'm sorry, Mayor, we also did a survey. Remember we did a survey?
Oh, about mosquitoes?
Yes,
we actually did a
around
survey.
the mayor time, we did a survey, and majority of the residents wanted the town to be sprayed, so that's why we had moved forward. But a lot of residents have came back now and filled out the form to be exempt.
So where would I get a form?
I'm sorry?
Where would I get the form?
Do you want to be exempt?
No, I want to be sprayed.
You want to be sprayed.
The town contracts for mosquito spraying. Am I on? The town contracts for mosquito spraying, but if you want to be exempt from it, then you fill out the form. So if you want mosquito spraying, then don't fill out the form.
Oh, okay.
But if your neighbor next door has filed for exemption, you're not going to get sprayed because you're within 300 feet of him.
So I got to talk to my neighbors to find out.
Yeah.
Tell them not to fill out the form.
This is just it. I mean, I don't know if everybody understands the implications about mosquito spray. My understanding from the state's website that this mosquito spraying does not impact bumblebees, which is the main reason why a lot of people don't want the spray is the concern, but they say that it does not, that bumblebees are not here at night and they only come at night, and by the time that the day comes, what they've sprayed has dissipated, so it's not impacting the leaves that they may pollinate around, and that's the biggest concern. And while some concerns about mosquito are realistic, some people have a lot of concerns about the cats, there's also a lot of concerns about not spraying. West Nile virus, there's the ticks, there's a lot of things that are physically dangerous to our bodies if we don't spray. So we got an overwhelming response that people wanted to be sprayed, but we can't change the law, which allows your neighbor to put in an exemption form. So if you think your neighbors have put in exemption forms, that's the only best bet we got. We've got no other control other than you just saying, neighbors, do you want to be sprayed or not? Because I think some misinformation was given to people who might have filled out those forms. They might have thought they was filling out a form to get sprayed, depending on how it was told to them about it. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Somebody might have thought they were filling out a form saying, yes, I want to be sprayed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. My name is Felicia Fitz. I live on 39th Avenue.
Welcome.
The concern is, okay, not with mosquitoes, but the cause, because there's big trenches that holds the water in the back of the neighborhood. So it's not so much of not getting sprayed, but if there can be measures taken to You know what I'm talking about?
And yeah, and so I'm glad you brought it up because it is something else that a lot of effort, and I forgot about it, this happened last month too, is that with all of the rain and the rain
Yes,
and
it's
the rain,
nature.
and over there by the staircase behind 30 on Lawrence, but behind 30th staircase to the park, the water will set forever. And so we actually went to Park and Planning. We had them come out and look at it and say, guys, this is what we're dealing with all the time, every time. And we got the mosquito issue, which is a big one, and the water just sets. So you're right. I mean, it's an absolute. So they came out, they pumped all the water out at that instant. We really got attention at a really high level because they were really pretty disgusted by not knowing that this was going on. And so what they've told us they're going to do as a permanent solution is actually get a pump that goes in that space right there that pumps the water back into Dooling Creek, where it's supposed to be. And that's going to be a permanent solution. So I'm glad you brought it up because I forgot to say that that was something else we worked on this month.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, with that said, is there a motion to adjourn this we need to excuse, is there a motion to excuse Councilmember Bowden?
And
Well, I have
Mendoza.
to do them separately.
Oh, yes, I'll make that motion stated.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to excuse Councilmember Mendoza?
I'll make that motion stated.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, with no objections, they are excused. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion as stated.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you
Thank
all
you.
so much. Thank you.
For coming out.
All right.